Good day. Today we are going to discuss circles in the coordinate plane. We have two objectives. One, how do we write equations and graph circles in the coordinate plane? And second, you should be able to use the equation and graph of a circle to solve problems. So let's look at the content of this PowerPoint. So in this PowerPoint, we have three contents, three parts. Number one, warm up, serves as our review for the previous lesson that we have. Second, the lesson proper or the lesson presentation. And third, we have a quiz. So at the end of this presentation, you will take a 2-item quiz regarding the topic, which is circles in coordinate plane. So let's start with the warm-up. So we have the following problems. Use the distance formula to find the distance and round that up to the nearest tenth between each pair of points. So number one, find the distance between point A and D with the following coordinates 6, 2 and -3, 2. Okay, so we'll look for the distance between these 2 points with the following given. So as you can see, we have 6, 2 and -3, 2. Okay, this serves as our x of 1. On the left, we have this one as our x of 1. We have our y sub 1. And then we have our x sub 2. And then y sub 2. Okay, now, we all know that we already discussed this one last time. What we're going to do is just substitute to the formula, given formula, which is the distance, which is equal to the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. So now, since we know all our points labeled properly, so we just need to plug that in the given. So here we have x sub 2 is -3. Our x sub 1 is 6. And then we square that plus. We have y sub 2 is -2, comma, we have our y sub 1, which is, or minus +2, then square. Now, if we try to simplify this one, this gives us what? So -3 minus 6 gives us -9. So again, we are subtracting or we are adding similar integers. So -3, as if we are adding them, -3 plus a -6. So this gives us -9. And then we square them, and then plus. Here, -2 minus 2 gives us -4 square. So if we simplify, this gives us +81 plus +16. Okay, so 81 plus 16, or this gives us rad 97. Now, so since we are tasked to round it off to the nearest 10, what should be our answer? So go ahead, get your calculator, and plug in your calculator or key in your calculator rad 97 or square root of 97. Okay? So now it gives us, what will be our answer? Alright, so this gives us our answer, which is equivalent to 9.8, or that is simply the square root of 97. Now, we'll do the same thing with number 2. If you solve for number 2, okay, go ahead, get a paper, and then try find the distance between these 2 points, C, with the coordinates of 4, 5, and D, having a coordinates of 0, 2. Alright, go ahead, try. Now, again, just do the substitution in the given formula. D is equal to square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 square plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 square. Alright, so I think you already solved this one. So let's see what will be our answer. So substituting in here gives us the following. So our x sub 2 is 0, our x sub 1 is 4, and then we square it, plus y sub 2 is positive 2, and then y sub 1 is 5, so minus 5, and then we square them. After that, you have now here, I'll just put it here. So you have 16. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Then so we square that. That is 16 plus 2 minus 5 is negative 3. We square negative 3, or negative 3 times negative 3 gives us a positive 9. So therefore gives us rad 25. Or what's the square root of 25? It gives us a positive and negative. Okay? Positive and negative 5. But we are after the distance. So distance is always positive. So we take the principal root. So therefore, the value that we have is a positive 5. Alright. So go ahead, try number 3. Alright. So again, in number 2, our distance is equal to positive 5. Let's proceed to number 3. So same thing. We do the same procedure. We just plug in to the given formula. And, okay, now we have our answer for number 3. So try to check if you do get the same answer as what I have in my solution. Alright, number 4. Fill in the table of values for the equation y is equal to negative 14 plus x, or x minus 14. These are two things to the same equation. So sometimes it is written as this, negative 14 plus x. So these are just two the same equations. So now, what do we do in order for us to solve for the value of y? So of course, what we're going to do is just plug in for the value of x that we have. So in the first row, we have negative 1, and then we're gonna plug that in to x. So negative 14, so it gives us negative 14 plus a negative 1. This gives us negative 15. Alright? Next, after that, we have negative 14 plus 0. So this gives us negative 14. Next, we have negative 14 plus 1. So since the value that we're going to substitute is now 1, so we plug in a 1, and this gives us an answer of negative 13. And finally, we have negative 14 plus a positive 2. This gives us negative 12. So, again, once again, we were able to solve for the values of y when we do a direct substitution. Alright, so take note of those things that we did here in a warm-up part of our discussion, because we will be applying the skills that we have learned here. Alright, let's go back. So we're done with the warm-up. We're done with the review of the previous lesson. We proceed with the presentation. Now, an equation of a circle whose center is at the origin, or 0, 0, meaning at the origin, at the intersection of the x and y axis. So it's at 0, 0, at the origin. How do we graph, or what is the equation? Now, take a look at this particular example. So, the graph of a circle whose center is at the origin. Notice here that It's at the intersection, right? It's at the intersection of x and y, so at 0, 0, that's the origin. Now, if that's the case, since the center of the circle is at the origin, how do we know the equation of this circle? So the equation of a circle whose center is at the origin, 0, 0, we have here, the center is at the origin, 0, 0, we have equation given in the form x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. Wherein, this one, both of the left and the right hand side of the equation is raised to the second power. Take note, both sides is raised to the second power. And all of the variables that we have, the x, y, and r, is raised to the second power. So that this will give you a graph of a circle. Now, so in this equation, according to theorem 11-7-1, the equation of a circle with center h, k, and radius is r is given by the form x minus h squared plus quantity y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So notice, sir, how come it becomes this equation? Because we substituted our center. This is our h, this is our k. So since we substituted our center from here, so it becomes x minus 0 plus our k is 0 as well, so y minus 0 squared, and our r is not yet given, so r squared remain r squared. So now, when we simplify this gives us x minus 0 is x raised to the second power, so that's x squared. Y minus 0 is y raised to the second power, that is y squared. It is equal to our radius square. So once again, what we did is just a mere substitution. So going back to the warm-up, we did substitution so that we'll be able to find the equation. Alright? So now, this is the equation in standard form. Or sometimes we call this one a center radius form. Okay? Center and then radius form. Why? Because we can easily identify the center. So our center here is h and k. And the radius is just simply, when we look at, you solve for the radius, we just simply take the square root of r square. So again, you look for the radius, just take the square root of this, it gives you positive and negative r. But since distance is always positive, we will just take the value of a positive radius. Alright, let's have an example. So the equation of a circle is based on the distance formula in the fact that all points on a circle are equidistant from the center. Remember that when you draw a radius from the center to any point of the circle or on the circumference of the circle, it is equidistant, meaning equal distance, fixed distance. It will not change. So that's why all radii are the same. So let's look at this. So as we can see, we have the center h, k, and then when I draw the radius r at the circumference or on the circumference of the circle, I mark this one as point xy because this point corresponds to the value in the x-axis and another value in the y-axis. Okay, that's why we name that as x, y. Now, so again, when we look at the distance formula, this gives us x sub 2 minus x sub 1 square plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 square, and then take the square root of that. Now, we pattern the formula of the circle, the equation of a circle from the distance formula. How? So since we know, we're going to look for the radius, the distance of this radius from this point going to this point. So let's say I name this one as AB. So we're going to look for this radius, the distance. So to solve for the distance, just use the distance formula and now we plug in. So take note, these are our values. Now, so x sub 2, what is our x sub 1? I can name this one as my x sub 1 and this one is our y sub 1. Alright, so then we have here x sub 2 given and y sub 2. So now, just substitute x minus h. The center is h. So here, I just plug in the value of x sub 1. This is our x sub 2, by the way. This is our y sub 2. So our x sub 2 is x. Our x sub 1 is h. So we subtract them. Just plug in. Pinalit lang natin. And then we have y sub 2 is y. And then our y sub 1 is k. So we just plug in here. So now, after that, to solve for the radius, to remove this radical symbol, I have to square both sides. Okay, so therefore, since I square both sides, I will be able to cancel this. So this gives me this equation. So now, as you can see, this is the equation of a circle with the center h, comma, k. So, once again, what we did is just a mere substitution to the distance formula. Now, let's try this problem. So, the given standard form of the equation of a circle with the center hk and radius r, and the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So, again, this is just taken from the distance formula. Now, let's have an example. Write the equation of a circle with the given center at J and radius is 4. So again, circle J, we read this one as circle J with center at point J. This is the center, point J, and we have 2, 2 is the center, and radius is 4. So this one is our H, and this one our K. Again, the center is always labeled as H and K. And this one is your R. This is your radius. Now, given the equation of a circle, which is just x minus h quantity square plus y minus k quantity square is equal to r square. So, what we're going to do is just substitute. Plug in the value. Substitute 2 for h, substitute 2 for k, and 4 for r. So, as you can see, pinalitan lang natin dito yung h ng 2 and yung k natin ng 2. Ito po yun, nanggaling po dito. And then yung r natin dito, pinalitan natin ng 4. So, that's why we have that. Then, we simplify. So, x minus 2 square plus y minus 2 square is equal to this one. 4 square is just simply 4 times 4, which is 16. So now, this is the equation of the circle that we are looking for. So, this is the equation of a circle in standard form. Okay? So, as you notice, our h here is positive. It takes the opposite sign here. Our k here is positive. It takes the opposite sign in here. Okay? Just take note of that. So therefore, when we look at, let's say, given the equation is this. We are looking for the center. So the center will be h comma k, hk. And since this one is negative, just take the opposite of that. So you have 2. And then this one is negative. The opposite of that is positive 2. So therefore, you have your center, which is 2, comma 2. And our r square, in this case, is equal to 16. Now, to solve for r, we just need to take the square root on both sides. So what's the square root of 16? The answer is positive negative 4. But since we're dealing with distance, we only take the principal root, which is positive 4. So therefore, our radius is 4. Okay? Let's continue. So let's have example number 2, writing the equation of a circle once again. So write the equation of each circle or of this circle with center at point P and a radius of square root of 15 units. So again, we mark this one as your H, we mark this one as your K, and we mark this one as your R. Now, given the equation of a circle, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k quantity square equals r squared. So, all we need to do is just plug in the value. So, now we have to plug in x. So, as you notice, that's the sign of the formula. And then h is negative here, so that's why I have to put that. It's better if we put parentheses so that we distinguish the two symbols. This one is the sign for subtraction. This one is the sign of the number of the center, which is negative 1 at h. Now, we have, so again, this one is the sign of the operation, subtract, and then k is a positive 4, so we have that. And then our r is square root of 15, so that's why I have to put square root of 15 and then I have to square that. Now, we simplify. Negative and a negative gives us positive. Okay, so that's why we have x plus 1 square, and now we have y minus 4 square, and since we are squaring this one and it has a radical symbol, we have to remove that. Therefore, your r square will now be 15. So, this is now your equation of the circle. Okay, if you have questions, you may ask me probably when I post this one in Schoology. In Schoology, you can ask me questions. You can comment directly, or probably you can just direct message me if you have questions. Next, write the equation of the circle K. So again, this one is circle K. Of course, since this is circle K, the center is at K. That passes through. So ito daw, hanapin natin yung equation ng circle na dadaan sa point J. Dadaanan si point J at 6, 4 and has the center. So, given the center. Okay. Which is 1, negative 8. So, meaning to say, we don't have the radius. As you notice, in the previous 2 examples that I have, the radius is given. However, in this 3rd example, we don't have the value of the radius. So, what do we do in order for us to solve for the radius? So, given the center, we don't have the radius, but there is a point at which the circle will pass through, kung saan dadaan yung circle. So, let's visualize. So, again, the distance formula, we're gonna be using distance formula. Why? We need to find the distance from the center. So, let's say the center is at 1, negative 8. So, let's try to visualize it. So, let's say we have this one as our Cartesian plane. So, the center, 1. So, let's say this is 1 and let's say this is negative 8. So, at 1, negative 8, this is the center of the circle. 1, negative 8. And it will pass through at 6, 4. 6, 4. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, it will pass through this. So meaning, if the circle will pass through this is the center. So somehow, it will be like this. So observe that this is the center and this is the point at which the circle will pass through, kung saan dadaan yung circle, yung graph. Ito po, kung kukonekta natin sila, this serves as our radius. But we don't know the measure of this. That's why we need to solve for the distance. How do we find the distance? We just use the distance formula. And here, in this case, we're looking for the distance of r, the radius. So now, this gives us our center. Now, I'll make this one as my x sub 1, or I'll make this one as my x sub 2, y sub 2. And I'll make the center as my x sub 1 and then y sub 1. So, all we need to do is plug in the values. Again, the formula is just simply distance is equal to x sub 2 minus x sub 1 square plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 square. So, our x sub 2 is 6. Our x sub 1 is 1, so I just plug in here and then square them, plus our y sub 2 is 4, and then minus our y sub 1 is a negative 8, so I have to separate it with a parenthesis just to take note that this is a negative number and this is the sign or the operation that we are going to follow. Now, and then parenthesis, open and close parenthesis, square. Okay, then we simplify them. This gives us square root of 169, and therefore, when we take the square root of 169, we have 13. So this is our radius. So the distance of this is 13. Now, we know already the radius. We have the center, which is, our center is given, which is 1 comma negative 8. So we know the center, which is 1 comma negative 8. And we know the radius, which is 13. And again, this is our h, this is our k. From the formula, we are just going to substitute them. Alright, let me erase this part so that we will have a working space. Hey, now go ahead. While I'm erasing this one, you can try it on your paper. Alright, so try it. What should be our equation? So now, let me erase this one. It's already given in here. We have 1 negative 8 center, and we have already the radius, which is 13. Now, substitute that in the given formula, in the given equation of a circle formula. So now we have x minus 1. So since this one is our h, so minus 1 square plus y minus our k is a negative. So minus 8 minus negative 8 square equals our r is 13. So just plug that in here. Now we have to simplify. Simplifying later, this gives us positive. Negative times negative gives us positive. So now this is our equation of the circle. And we are done. Okay, with the third example. Next, write the equation of this circle. So here, in this fourth example, as we can see, we have a center at 0, negative 3, and the radius is 8. So we have a given center at hk, and then we have the radius. So there's no need to find the distance of the radius. We can just directly substitute. Okay, given the equation of the circle, once again, is x minus 8h quantity square plus y minus k quantity square is equal to r squared. So we determine this is our r, and substitute lang natin to lahat. So, x minus 0 square plus the quantity y minus negative 3. So, since this one is a negative, so that's why I have to put that. And then square is equal to h squared. Simplify them. This gives us x squared. So, x minus 0 is x, then square it. So, x squared. And then this gives us a positive. That's why it becomes positive there. So, square is equal to h squared is just simply 8 times 8, which is equal to 64. And as you can see, we have our equation. So the equation is this. This is the equation we are looking for. So go ahead. If you want to try your own, you can verify that. Please do solve this on your own paper. Now, let's proceed to another example. Let's check this out. In example 1b, write the equation of the circle at Q, whose center is at Q, that passes through. So, ang sentro niya ay nasa point Q, pero dadaan siya sa 2, 3 and has center at 2, negative 1. So again, this is somehow related or similar to example number 3. So let's try to figure this out. Okay, how are you going to solve this? Let's figure it out. So again, the problem is write the equation of the circle that passes through 2, 3, dadaan sa point na 2, 3 and has center at 2, negative 1. So let's try to solve. You may also try using a graphing paper if you want. So because it can be easily be identified if we visualize, or we can easily solve this if we visualize the problem. So let's take that on top so that we have a working space. Now, again, the center is at 2, negative 1. So let's plot that. Where is 2, negative 1? So x is, or our h is positive 2. Our k is negative 1. So here, positive 2. And then here, negative 1. So this is the center. At dadaan daw siya sa 2, 3. 2, 3. So positive 2, point x and y. So here. So meaning to say, if we're trying to analyze this one, this is our circle. Dadaanan to, itong part na ito, dadaanan yan. So meaning, that is our radius. This part is our r. So we need to find the distance of that radius. So once again, since we're looking for the distance, we're gonna be using the formula, which is x sub 2 minus x sub 1 square plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 square. So we can rename this one. This can be our x sub 2, y sub 2, and my center will be my x sub 1 and y sub 1. Now, we just need to plug that in. So we're looking for the radius. So x sub 2 is 2 minus x sub 1, which is also positive 2, and then we square it, plus our y sub 2 is 3, and then we have our y sub 1, which is a negative 1, so minus a negative 1 square. Now, we simplify further. So this gives us 0. 2 minus 2 is 0, so we don't need to put that. And then 3 minus a negative 1, this gives us a positive 4. Then we square that. Okay? So that is r is equal to 16. Square root of 16. And now to take our r square, I need to square both sides. So r square is equal to 16. I cancel that out. So notice that we already have our r square. R square now is equal to 16. So now we can easily substitute that in the formula. Now, so again, we already solved for the radius. Okay. Going back, we did this one a while ago. So the square root of 16 is 4, and then we're gonna be substituting that. Okay, I think I made a mistake on this one. Yeah, we have 4 square. Okay, 4 square is 16. If we take the square root of 16, which is 4, or r square, it's just 16. So I did not take the square root of 16 since this one is what we have in the formula. Remember the formula, x minus 8 square plus y minus k square equals r square. So all we need to do is just substitute that later. Now we can also do this one. So here we substitute. So our r square is equal to square root of 16. And then we take the root of 16, which is equal to 4, which is our r. So this one is our r. This is our radius. And we substitute that to the given formula. And we simplify them. Therefore, we have now our equation of a circle. So once again, we're able to solve the problem. Next, we proceed to the next example. Now, let's determine the coordinates of the center and the measure of the radius. So what if we're going to determine the coordinates of the center and the measure of the radius given the equation? So let's say, how about we have this one? How are we going to determine the center? So remember, the center is in the form h comma k. Now, this one is not in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. It's not in that form. So what we're going to do is to solve for this one in that particular form. Alright. So we have that. Next. So we have to add 121 on both sides. So we have now x plus 4 squared plus y squared equals 121. And then from there, as you can see, since it has no number added or subtracted to y, the value of y is equal to 0. So center is negative 4. Just the opposite of this. Opposite lang yan, positive. So this 4, the opposite of positive is negative. This is our h and this is our k. So walang number nakatabi dito, so ibig sabihin 0 siya. And then when we take the radius, that's just 11. How did you get 11? So remember that this is r square. So r square is 121. We take the square root of that, and you have 11. Okay, now let's try another one. Find the equation of a circle that has points P, which is 1, 8, and Q, 5, negative 6 as the endpoints of the diameter. So this time, endpoints of the diameter. This one is not the center, but these are endpoints. Dulo-dulo siya ng diameter. But remember, diameter passes through the center of the circle. So, kumbaga, itong mga point na ito, 1, 8. Where is 1, 8? So, 1, 8. So, let's say this is 8. So, this is 1. So, 1, 8. So, dito po. Dito, 1, 8. And then, yung isa pang dulo naman, 5, negative 6. So, let's say this is 5. Then, we have here, this one is negative 6. So, here. So, ito yung diameter. So, meaning, ito yung circle natin. At kailangan natin makuha yung gitna, yung center. Kailangan natin itong mahanap. Ano yan? Okay, let's try to solve this. So once again, this is the given equation. So let's put this one on top so that we will be able to solve. We have a working space. So let's graph. Let's plot the points. 1, 8. Where is 1, 8? 1, 8, it's here. Where is 5, negative 6? 5, negative 6, it's here. So notice, ito yung diameter ng circle. So ibig sabihin, ganito yung circle, dapat magiging itsura niyan. So, hindi siya perfectong pagkakadrawing. But as you can see, this is how it looks like. Ganito magiging itsura ng ating circle. So now, we're looking for the middle. And as we all know, we have discussed this. Kailangan nating makuha ang midpoint. Paano hanapin ang midpoint? Remember the formula? That's just x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2 and then comma y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. So we need to solve for the midpoint para alam natin yung center because this is the midpoint. Yung gitna, yun din yung center natin which is the midpoint at the same time. That's the midpoint of the diameter. So now, we can take this one, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So substitute, x sub 1 natin is 1, x sub 2 is 5, and then divided by 2. Y sub 1 here is 8, plus y sub 2 is a negative 6, divided by 2. Now, simplify, this gives us 6 over 2, comma, this is 8 plus negative 6, so that's 2, and then divide by 2. Now, we can still simplify, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then 2 divided by 2 is 1. So therefore, the center is at 2, 1. So in this case, that's our center. Now, it's just that it's not perfectly graphed here in the circle that I have provided. So our center is at 3, 1. Okay, here. It's supposed to be here. Okay? So try to reconnect this one again. 3, 1. That's our center. Now, since we know the center, remember, we have our working equation kung saan natin ipapalit yung given natin na center at saka radius. As you notice, meron na tayong mga center. Ito yung h natin, ito yung k. So, x minus 3 square plus y minus 1 square. Pero nawawala yung r square natin, nawawala pa yung r. So, kailangan natin kunin ang distance ngayon nito. Mula dito hanggang dun. Or mula dito hanggang dito kahit saan. So, this is 3, 1. And if we took this one as our endpoint, which is 1, 8, 1, 8. So, therefore, we take the distance of this. This can be our radius. Or pwede mo rin naman kunin yun. Ito, pareho lang naman sila. So, kahit alin. So, let's take this one. Ito ang kukunin nating distance. So, again, we have to take the distance of that. With the formula, so this gives me as my x sub 2, y sub 2. This is my x sub 1, this is my y sub 1. So, x sub 2 is 1, minus x sub 1, which is 3, and then square, plus y sub 2 is 8, minus y sub 1 is 1. So, we square that. And then we have here negative 2 square plus this one is 7 square. So now, this gives us what? 4 plus 49. So therefore, our r is equal to square root of 53. This is our r. Now, we are just going to substitute that here. So mayroon na tayong x minus 3 square plus y minus 1 square is equal to our r is square root of 53. But when we square it, since we have our square here, so square them, we will be able to cancel that out. So therefore, our final answer will be x minus 3 square plus y minus 1 square is equal to 53. So, eto na po ngayon yung equation ng circle natin. Na kung saan, sinasabi dito, find the equation of a circle that has points 1, 8 and 5, negative 6 at point Q, pero iyon daw yung mga endpoints ng diameter, yung dulo-dulo ng diameter. So as you can see, we were able now to apply what we have learned in the previous week on the midpoint and distance formula. And plus, during the warm-up, the substitution method, the direct substitution. So, this is our answer. So, now, it is solved. Okay. So now, I have also put that in a PowerPoint. So now, let's have example number 7. Write the equation that has a diameter whose endpoints. This one is similar to the previous example, similar to this. So we have diameter. So the endpoints of the diameter are the following. Okay, ito yung dulo-dulo ng diameter. First, find the center. How do we find the center? We have to find the center using the midpoint. So this can be our x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Again, the formula is just simply adding the x's and then divide by 2. And then we add the y's and then divide it by 2. So that's why we have 2 plus a negative 6. That's simply negative 4. Now we simplify that. Negative 4 divided by 2, the answer is negative 2. And then we have 7, which is y sub 1, plus 15, which is 22 divided by 2, which is 11. So therefore, our midpoint is negative 2, 11. This is the center. This is now our H. This is our K. Okay? So, again, it's here. We just simplify that. So, negative 4, simplify, negative 2, 11, the center. Now, find the radius. How do we find the radius? We can take that from here. So, this is our center. Let's use this one as the value. So, from the center to any point, so in this case, I just use from the center to this point. Okay? So, now plug that in, substitute to the given formula, and we simplify. So, therefore, our radius is square root of 32. And after that, we plug into the given equation of a circle. So, now, take note of our radius, that is square root of 32, and our center, negative 2, 11. So, center, we have the radius. Substitute that to the given. So, x minus 2, since our h is this, and our k is 11. So, we have that, and then we square. So, now, this is negative times a negative, that gives us a positive, and then this one, so y minus 11 square is equal to, so we were able to cancel this one, so that is 32. Therefore, our equation of the circle now is this. So this is our answer. Okay, next. So how to graph a circle? How do we graph? Paano nga ba tayo mag-graph ng circle? So to graph a circle, we just need the following. If you're given the equation of a circle, you can graph the circle by making a table or by identifying its center and radius. So, say for example, we have this one. How do we graph this? So, ngayon, may ideya ako ng center. Ang center nito ay what? So, I can just put it in this form para at least malaman natin kung ano ang center. So, ang center nito ay positive 3. Again, kung ayaw nyong ilagay sa gantong form, gawin natin just the opposite. To find for h, just the opposite. So, dahil ito ay negative 3, just the opposite of that, positive 3. Dahil ito ay positive 4 dito sa given, just the opposite of that, negative 4. And how do we find r is equal to 3? Remember that this is r squared. So, to solve for the radius, we just need to equate 9 to r squared. And then take the square root on both sides. So, r is equal to positive negative 3. But remember, it is supposed to be positive. R is equal to 3. So, therefore, our radius is 3. Now, kapag alam nyo na yung mga yan, we can do the graphing. So, the center is 3, negative 4, and the radius is 3. Plot the points. We have to plot 3, negative 4, and then graph using the radius, which is 3. Now, you have this. So, as you can see, nilagay ko lang yung point dito, yung center, 3, negative 4. And then the radius. Radius is, from here, from the center, I just count 3 units. So, 1, 2, 3. So, from here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So, these are the, and then, you can connect those points. Pwede na natin i-trace. Or, if you have, okay, if you have a device or a tool that you can use, which is very helpful for you to make a circle. And what is that device? I think you've been using that. Okay. You can use that device in mathematics, in geometry. Okay. So actually, may technique ako dito dating ginagawa ko. Kumukuha ako ng papel, tapos binubutasan ko, nilalagay ko center, tapos nun din sa dulo, tinitrace ko lang. Then pinapaikot ko pag ganon, yung papel, mayroon na akong circle. Kahit wala akong device na pang-trace nito. Okay? A compass. So, kung may compass ka, yung compass na hindi pang ng direction, but compass in math is used for making an angle or tracing or drawing a circle. So, yun po. Next. Another example. So, example number 9. How do we graph this? So, again, malinaw sa atin ng ating center ay magiging positive 3 at saka yung ating k naman dito ay negative 2. So, h is 3, k is negative 2, and then r squared is equal to 4. So, when we take the square root of this, gives us positive negative 2, but what we are after of is the positive distance of the radius. So, that's why our r is 2. Okay, so we have the following. We have the h, we have the k, and we have the radius. So, now we can plot it. Pwede na natin siyang i-graph. So, as you can see, the center is at 3, negative 2, and then the radius is 2. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I just trace all those points. And then, connect ko siya muna with a broken line. And then, after that, you trace. You now have your circle. Now, it's time for you to do the quiz. It's quiz time. So, we're done with the lesson presentation. It's time to do the quiz. So, at the end of this, we have to learn how to graph each of these equation. I'll be uploading this one in Schoology. Please answer this one, and I will also enable the submission part of this. Okay? And if you have questions, you can just direct message me or comment on the uploaded uh, learning guide or lesson lecture notes on circles. And that would be all. Thank you.